Alright, retards, here today to talk about some bullshit. But first, citralube.com, use code AGENTORANGE for 10% off. Or if you are shopping today, Father's Day, every order gets an automatic 15% off. That goes to all the dads out there that did not have their reproductive abilities stolen from them by hops and their shitty chemicals. So today's video is basically going to just be, kind of my thoughts a little bit. And I don't want this channel to be like a current affairs type of channel. I don't want it to be like, oh, something happens and I talk about it. So the advice that I give in this video is going to be valid for a long time, obviously. But it's about this whole Mark 1 thing. I'm sure there's a million videos about it, so I wanted to kind of offer hopefully a slightly different opinion. Um, so the deal is this thing is $3 grand for those that don't know, and everybody's up in arms about it, not coming with a certain barrel and bolt and whatnot of a certain metal type. And maybe there may have been some sort of bait and switch involved. And just as a disclaimer, this is not, anything against Sons of Liberty Gunworks. I don't really know much about them. I don't own any of their products. So this is purely going based off of speculation of shit that I've seen on the internet. But here's the deal. The thing is $3,000. $3,000, especially in this economy, is absolutely fucking insane. Trump and that fucking retard Benjamin Netanyahu have absolutely ravaged our economy. And I don't see it getting any better anytime soon. So $3,000, it's a lot of money. No optic, no suppressor, no nothing. That's a lot of money. So I just want to kind of jump in and say, just kind of a reminder that, keep in mind that these factory builds, most of them are all the fucking same. Whether it's one brand or another. If the upper and lower are Milspec, they're all the same. And I know that the handguard and the upper like interface in some special way or whatever to make it more rigid, that's cool and all, but we've been getting away with BCM and Riz 2s and all these other nice handguards. We've been getting away with those being good mounts for laser aiming modules and other shit for a long time. And they're more proven, at least in my opinion, through military service and whatever. Not my opinion as a serviceman. I've never served in the military. I'm just a retard with a gun and a camera. But I'm saying that the Riz 2s alone have proven themselves through their military service. And those don't interlock with the upper, like this whole Mark 1 thing. So, but as far as like the barrel and all that shit goes, Criterion and Proof and Faxon and Roscoe and all these brands exist. And so if your issue is that you're not getting a super special barrel, well, you can just go buy one and it's not going to cost you $3 grand. And I'm sure this whole Armad barrel thing is, I'm sure it's fancy. I'm sure it's cool. I'm sure there's a benefit to it. But for the 99% of us out there that are shooting regular ass fucking guns, I'm sure our barrels work perfectly fine and we don't need it to be some Armad fucking metal type or whatever. So, before people get in the comments and be like, well, Waco, this is super obvious information. It's not obvious to a lot of people because there are still people out there that are going out and buying these really, really expensive builds. And realistically speaking, from, this part down is all the same, right? Milspec is Milspec. So assuming that the controls are the same as, one rifle to the other, they're realistically all going to be the same type of rifle. The only thing differentiating them at that point being the handguard that you pick, the gas length, and the barrel quality itself. So, in my opinion, it would be much better. If you see me looking down a lot, there's a monitor right here kind of showing I'm making sure that it stays in fucking focus. I broke my anamorphic lens. I actually had it mounted to my fucking Forester and it fell off So like the whole camera and the lens fell off my car and hit a fucking rock. So now the lens is all kind of fucking weird. So the deal is that you can go get whatever build you want and just put a better barrel and a better gas system, whether it's, you know, you make it better by the length or the gas block or whatever, and you'll have a very nice shooting rifle. Um, you know, again, this may seem, you know, very obvious, but it's not obvious to a lot of people. A lot of people directly tie the quality or the accuracy and performance of their rifle purely based on the whole thing, not knowing that realistically it's your barrel and your gas system. You know, obviously your bolt quality and your buffer weights and all that shit, they're going to make a huge difference, obviously. But those are things that you can swap. Those are things that you can buy. You can buy a nice bolt and a nice buffer system completely independently of whatever the rest of the build is. And so the reason I say that is because this Mark 1 is 3 grand and you're kind of stuck with what you got, right? It comes with a Hux mount. Well, what if you don't use Hux cans? Well, then you got to go get another mount. What if you have a certain type of suppressor that, you know, maybe requires a different buffer length for it to, or buffer tube, or not buffer tube. I'm fucking retired. My blood glucose is fucking in the dumpster right now, so I'm kind of hanging on by a thread. But basically what I'm getting at is the tunability of your entire build is going to be dependent on what you put into it. So when you buy a factory build, you're kind of a slave to what's on that build, the gas block, the buffer, the whatever, and then you got to go swap all those parts out to fit what you want it to do. And that's an inefficient way to spend your money, in my opinion. I would heavily recommend, for those that don't know, before you drop $2,000 on a fucking Daniel's fence, just go get a regular Milspec upper and lower, you know, decent brand fucking upper and lower, and save the rest of that money for a nice barrel with a mid-length or longer gas system. I specify that because this Mark 1, the 11.5, has a carbine gas length, and I don't care if it has a conservative porting or whatever. Carbine gas kind of fucking sucks when compared to mid-length or longer, so mid-length, intermediate, or rifle. I would much rather have a 12.5 with a mid-length gas, and before you jump in there and say, oh, mid-length on that short of a barrel is unreliable, get a suppressor. It'll shoot perfectly fucking fine. And especially if you put adjustable gas blocks on everything like I do, you can tune everything to exactly how you want it. So my recommendation is always going to be build it yourself, save the money. To put it into perspective, this entire build, and for YouTube's algorithm, this is not me telling you how to do this or anything like that. I'm just fucking making a point. This did not cost the same as a Mark 1. It was significantly cheaper, and I mean the entire build, optic and suppressor included, did not cost what it cost to buy one Mark 1 just off the shelf. So I'm just putting that information out there. And again, this is not a knock on Sons of Liberty or nothing. This is just more of a commentary on, you know, you got all these brands out there trying to get your money. They've got influencers on their payroll that are trying to, you know, dump all these videos out there talking about how great something is. Well, they're all paid to say that. So it's just better just go get the parts, the exact parts you want. You want ambi controls? Go get them. You want Plan B mounting? Go get it. You want a fucking SPR styled barrel? Go get it. There's no point in buying a factory build and then, you know, changing out half the fucking parts later on. So that's my opinion. And I'm sure somebody's going to ask, Waco, why are you holding a loaded rifle? There's not one in the chamber, by the way. It's just a loaded mag. It's not just for illustrative purposes for the video. It's actually next to my desk because there has been a crackhead setting fires outside my apartment. They've done 3 fires in less than a week. all basically in the same fucking area. And so the idea is that if I see the crackhead in question setting another fire, they're going to find out what 55 grain is like out of a 20-inch barrel. I would say within this range, 25, 50-ish yards, if they, you know, are moderately dressed or like most fentanyl addicts, not really dressed at all, um, it should be a pretty easy hit. I don't think I'll need anything like green tip or nothing like that. I think just regular M193 should do the job. And if they get out maybe, past 400 or 500 yards, maybe I would like to have 77 grains. So that's something for me to consider. Um, but this build is effective out to like 700, 800 yards. It does pretty damn good with 55 grain just because of sheer velocity. So it should be pretty easy to take him down or her. I don't know. This rifle is considered DEI, so it doesn't really discriminate based on gender, race, or anything like that. So, and for the future jury that may watch this video, and they might be saying, "Well, Waco, he wanted to fucking do this. He wanted to, he had no regard for human life." Well, what's worse, me defending life and property because there's elderly people in this building that will not be able to escape a fire in time, and also my cat Boba, or the arsonist. What's worse, me or them? And so I'll just leave it at that. Again, citralube.com. Use code Agent Orange, or if you're shopping today on Father's Day, automatic 15% off. And shout out to all the dads out there that are actively training and becoming better men, learning how to defend themselves and their families. Shout out to you guys. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. See ya.